Alrighty. So this is going to be a bit of a history story that you need to know if you're paying attention to offer sheets. If you're now just learning what offer sheets are, how people feel about them, how GMs feel about them, what makes them so fun, and maybe even why they're not very popular, you need to know this story. This story is, if people know what offer sheets are and they don't know the story, that is a shame because this is one of the more hilarious stories. So, Sergei Fedorov, in the 90s, he defected from Russia to the United States in 1990 to join the Red Wings. And when he did that, they had a promise to him in 1990 that there would be a lot of money waiting for him. And he said when he showed up that the money was just not even close to what they promised. And he hired a lawyer, all this stuff happened, he ends up signing the deal, but there's always, like, basically from that point onward, in terms of, like, Fedorov was, like, I believe Ronaldo was a great teammate, him and Eisenman got along really well, but him and ownership always had problems, and that, he took that out on general managers, but I don't know if he necessarily, like, hated any particular general manager aside from their relation to the ownership. And that was and still is the illiches for the Red Wings. So that contract runs out in 1997. He is due for a deal. And the Red Wings had just won the Stanley Cup. He's due for a deal, and the RFA negotiations are going terribly. He is still an RFA, and he is getting deals that he just is not willing to accept. Not even close. And to the point where the season is starting, and he is, vowed to never play a game for Detroit ever again. And Detroit isn't really looking to deal him. Usually with stuff like this happens where it looks like you're not going to sign the player with RFAs, they usually get dealt. You see that a lot. And you don't necessarily see that and then know the context, but if you ever see an RFA get dealt, that's usually the story. It's just the RFA just doesn't want to play there, and they just get dealt, which is not a huge deal. But for this, it'd be a huge deal because Sergei Fedorov had just won the Selke. He, if you look at his stats, Sergei Fedorov is a Hall of Famer, of course. First year in the league, over point per game, over point per game, over point per game, 120-point season, where he won the Hart, the Bing, Pearson, Selke. He won so many Selkes, defensively responsible player. These are like fourth in votings, right? So one Selke, ninth in Selke voting. So he won two Selkes, one Art Ross. He was first All-Star team. Pearson. These. Every year, he was basically renowned as one of the better players in the league. Some years, the best player in the league. And Carolina is sort of a new franchise. They're relatively new. They don't have a big name for themselves. They don't consistently make the playoffs. So they give him this offer sheet. And this offer sheet was more of a get butts in seat offer sheet rather than, we want to push ourselves over the edge. This was an offer sheet that was 5 years, so we'll see, 6 years. The offer was $38 million for 6 years, which, isn't a ton of money. 38, divided by 6. It's 6.33, over 6 years. That's not a big deal. The big deal was this. So they give him this offer sheet, and it had a signing bonus clause. So it had a bunch of signing bonuses in it, right? So $12 million of the offer was salary. $26 million was signing bonuses. There were $26 million signing bonuses all throughout the contract. However, there was a clause, if you've been reading this, you already read this, but there was a clause that if Sergei Fedorov's team were to make the conference finals, he would get all of the signing bonuses that are in the contract in that year, in the first year of the contract. Right? At the time, the Red Wings just won the Stanley Cup and, made the Final Four previously a ton more times. So this is almost guaranteed for the Red Wings and almost guaranteed to not happen for the Hurricanes. There's no way the Hurricanes are making the conference finals. They weren't worried about that at all. This was just, deterrent. But the Red Wings, initially, this deal got rejected by the NHL because they're like, that's bullshit. Because you hear that and you're like, that's really not in the spirit of the game to just layer out like, oh, if this player plays for a team with the winged wheel logo in front, pay them an extra $1 million. Like, stuff like that. You don't want to get too far down that rabbit hole. But then an arbiter deemed it, like, this is fine because Fedorov had no wishes to go to Detroit, so this is fair game. Just get this guy signed so he can get something done. The Red Wings then match this deal, and they had to eat it. They had to pay Sergei Fedorov $28 million, so the $2 million base salary, and then all the $26 million signing bonuses in a shortened season because Fedorov was holding out for so long. So he only played in that year. So that is this year, he played 21 games in the regular season. And then they won the cup again. So it's not like they operated at a deficit, I would imagine. I'm sure they made that money back and they were at a net positive still. But my lord. And then honestly, from that point on, $2 million, you're paying Sergei Fedorov $2 million a year 1 year after that. I mean, that's not so bad. But it's really one of those things that this is an insane story. This is why offer sheets leave bad taste in people's mouth. And this offer sheet is, for the most part, the reason why Sergei Fedorov, his number is not retired in Detroit, and it probably won't be, as long as the Ilitches are owners. So the owners at the time are still the owners of the Red Wings, the Ilitches, and they probably hate Sergei Fedorov. As much success as he brought the organization, he won 3 cups with the Red Wings. He really left a bad taste in the mouth with these negotiations and really cemented himself as, amongst owners, hated. And sometimes people need to get that context with players. Sometimes people need to know that a guy can be good at hockey and people still kind of hate him within the organization that has him. Like, just, success doesn't heal all wounds within these organizations sometimes, and this is one of those big cases. Because as soon as he became an unrestricted free agent at the end of this deal, he left for Anaheim, I'm pretty sure. The Mighty Ducks, where he played fine there, He just moved on. He's still with Sergei Fedorov, and he had a Hall of Fame career. Let's see, games played 900, points 954. Yeah, that is a Hall of Famer. So this deal is basically, from my recollection, it's number 4 on this list of craziest offer sheets, but I find this deal to be one of the more interesting things because of this clause of just inherently being like, this is anti-Red Wings, clause on here. This would be the worst for the Red Wings to sign. But if the Hurricanes get it, it's honestly not going to affect them at all. This would be a great deal for the Hurricanes. This would have been amazing for the Hurricanes in terms of building. They would be a way bigger team now if they got this offer sheet to go through. So understanding what makes offer sheets so toxic amongst GMs and caused them to be in this like turmoil and this everlasting bitterness and hatred for other GMs when they do offer sheets, this is a great example. And there is credence when people say, like, it's not a great idea sometimes to just toss offer sheets around because it could bite you in the ass later in terms of the other GMs will be pissed at you. I'm sure the Red Wings, for a long time, did not make a lot of deals with the Carolina Hurricanes because this really screwed them over in terms of ownership and such, having to pay out this huge $28 million. And the other thing I want to show is, $28 million isn't the most insane number for something like this. Like, if this were to happen today, if you were to pay all of the signing bonuses today on a certain contract, let's pay a contract with a lot of signing bonuses on it. Let's say, it's going to be cap friendly. I think the Kreider's contract has lots of signing bonuses. So imagine with this contract, you take all these signing bonuses. There's 22 extra $1 million of signing bonuses, and you just tag it on top of the first year. It's still not even that much. We'll say, well, I mean, I didn't want to use Matthews, but we'll use Tavares. So we'll say Tavares. See, there you go. This is the equivalent. This is the equivalent ratio. So imagine if Tavares in the first year of his deal, well, I mean, they would have to make the conference finals. Let's say they did. They had to pay him $70 million. That's the equivalent. That's why this is so insane. Imagine if someone got paid $7 million to play hockey. And the highest paid players, this includes their salary bonuses and stuff, this list. The highest one is Austin Matthews at almost $16 million. It's $10 million, $12 million off. And this is in like 1998. That's why this story is so insane. And that's why if you know what offer sheets are, if you've learned what they were from the news the other day about Jesperi Kotkaniemi, if you just learned what offer sheet is, you need to know this story. This story is hilarious, and there are amazing stories like this. I mean, I can toss this in the link. This is a good breakdown of a lot of different stories. These are all very good stories, I agree. The Shea Weber story is still relevant because his contract's still going on. Just like a quick TLDR, a 14-year offer sheet. 14-year deal on an offer sheet. And also, there's also repercussions. Like, this doesn't even tell the whole story. I would say if you want another story like this, look up Shea Weber's offer sheet and cap recapture repercussions. Look that up. It's the same sort of wildness as the Sergei Fedorov one. But yeah, this is sort of a history video of Sergei Fedorov signing an offer sheet and basically cementing himself as a Hall of Famer that can't have his jersey number retired. Almost, I think there's close to 0% chance, which is sad, but, you know, the owners have to give the go-ahead on that, and I don't think they would for this case. All right. Thank you for watching. If you want to see any topic talked about, we're still in August, so there isn't much to talk about. If there's big news, I'm going to make a sort of news of the day video, but if there's not, I'm going to talk about something I want to talk about. Alrighty. Catch you in the next one.